Before I get straight into the point, I just want to say this video is partly inspired by a video I saw by Maxi2, which I'll put his video and channel in the description down below. Now, to get straight into the point, for those who don't know, Necros top 500 player, and made it #1 multiple times in Marvel Rivals, made it from Bronze 3 to Celestial 3 by only playing support, which was a goal he and his community set up for him to do, which took him over 60 hours of streaming to complete with 4.5 streams dedicated to doing so. So from the lowest rank to the 4th highest rank in the game if you don't count top 500. Many supporters of Necros see this as a win for Necros and overwhelming loss for all support mains, but I'm here to explain why that simply isn't true. Let's start at the beginning with this clip.
This is why I hate support players, guys. I hate support players because they are literally allergic to good takes. They're just morons. They're idiots, and I hate them. I hate them. They never have any good takes. It's exactly what ruined Overwatch.
Now, you might be saying it's a dated clip, but he's doubling down by even doing this challenge. His words hold weight. He has a large following, and whatever he says, a large number of his viewers will start to think the same exact thing, even if those ideas contradict each other. Like saying support is overpowered, but at the same time, saying supports are carried and boosted. This has caused a lot of toxicity in the Marvel Rivals community, like people throwing around insults and overall being toxic to support players, then calling it ragebaiting, because Necros does the same exact thing. That is not how you make progress in any situation. Necros complained so much during his 10-hour loss streak on his stream, where he was stuck in GM2, that a spew of videos came up bringing up the issue of matchmaking being bad. Even a friend of his called Boger, who was there during the giant loss streak, made a video that same day about matchmaking. Also, side note, Necros in his chat loved to hate on Reddit for the support takes, but then Boger, a friend of Necros, uses Reddit as a point in his video on the matchmaking system. So that's another double standard. You only don't hate on something if it agrees with you. Necros has said that support is by far the easiest role in Marvel Rivals, which simply isn't true. People bring up characters like Cloak and Dagger for requiring no aim to play, but then ignore Scarlet Witch, who's a simplified version of Cloak and Dagger in the duelist role. There are easier characters in every role. I could list all the easier characters, but I know everyone knows a few off the top of their head which isn't a support in every role. Just because a couple characters in a role are easier than other characters doesn't mean that role is easy and brain dead. For every Rocket and Cloak and Dagger, there is a Scarlet Witch and Squirrel Girl. The difficulty of all roles are based on the person playing them. A person who really wants to play Vanguard could play horrible in that role, but easily play Duelist because their instincts and playstyle better fit that role. I personally think Vanguard is the hardest, then Strategist, then Duelist, but someone could rearrange these in any order to better fit their own experiences. But just because something is harder or easier for me doesn't mean it's harder or easier in general, and that's the difference. Necros and his community are saying overall support is by far the easiest role, not that they find it to play as, but in general. Necros has been grinding Marvel Rivals since the beta, before most people could even access it, with over 1,000 hours, and has been top 500 and even hit #1 in the world on a couple occasions. So he knows what top supports act like, because he's consistently went against them. Nobody disagrees that he plays with fast reaction time, good aim, good mechanics, and overall good game knowledge. I would say any top player in this game could play any role for the first time like he did with no experience prior and make it to Celestial 3. I made it to Grandmaster 3 in Season 0 with no competitive game experience, playing a game which I've never played, in a style of game I haven't played in a while, in 53.4 hours in total, or just 31.2 hours in competitive. From Season 0 to Season 1.5, it took me 91.4 hours to make it to Celestial 1, and that includes all roles. And I never had below 54.5% win rate in any season. In each season, my win rate went up. And for those curious, in this season so far, I only have 16.3 hours in competitive as of writing this right now, and I'm Grandmaster 3, with around a 60% win rate. Now, you might be saying, Necros is higher than US support, but I have two things to say to that. One, he should be with over 60 hours streaming support in just this season, which is 3.6 times more playing time than me, and is over 1,000 hours in the game. And two, I bet I'm higher support than you and any other Necros support player, if there even are any. Necros as a support was dominating lobbies being a DPS, Mantis, and Loki, until he got to Grandmaster where the good players are. So he stomped the bad players who are new to the game and are trying to get better, saying dive isn't strong because he's beating dive players with very low playing time, just maybe learning basic combos. Way to prove your point there. But let's bring up his wins and losses from Bronze to Diamond, then GM to Celestial to see the difference. From Bronze 3 to Diamond 1, he went 49 and 11, or 81.6% win rate. Then from GM 3 to Celestial 3, he went 46 and 39, or a 54% win rate. And on stream with his 54% win rate as a top 500 overall player, he raises his hand in the air and says he did it in 5 days, aka 60 hours streaming support. I will agree with him that some supports are boosted though, but the same goes for any role. There's boosted duelists, there's boosted vanguards, him being one of them in the case of support though. He averaged in competitive as Loki 9,722 damage and 17,502 healing per 10 minutes, while a support like me only averages 856 less damage per 10 minutes and 3,070 more healing per 10 minutes as Loki in competitive. And that's not even my best support. My best healing numbers are with Cloak and Dagger, which hit 28,000 per healing in 10 minutes in competitive. His numbers are on par with my season 1 Loki stats, where I only had 40.7 hours in competitive from season 0 to season 1. This isn't me contradicting myself either when I said he should be good at a role because he's a top player. During his 10-hour losing streak, he felt those growing pains when his playstyle in low ranks couldn't fit anymore in high ranks, and you could tell he was playing differently in the stream he got to Celestial 3 in. I could say how my stats are better in every support he's ever played in this challenge because he's not a true support player, and it's not as easy as he thinks. I bet if I took my magic and Smurf from Bronze 3 to Celestial 3, I would of course have a high win rate and I would grow as a dive to make it to Celestial 3. But then does that mean dive is now easy and brain dead? Especially since I'm not as good as Necros as a player in general? Of course not. Now would I actually do that? Simple answer is no. Not because that I don't believe I could do it, it's just I don't play enough of this game to create another count and worsen the smurfing problem which Necros has created. Now people on both sides of the aisle are smurfing to try and prove the other one wrong, which is ruining newer players' experiences, which is unhealthy for the game. Necros and his community love to throw around the phrase rage baiting, but it's simply being toxic. Using definitions of both, rage baiting is defined as a tactic used online to provoke anger and outrage in order to increase engagement in traffic. And toxicity is defined as the quality of being very harmful or unpleasant in a persuasive or insidious way, so both purposely bring harm to another person. People think it's okay to be toxic now since it's under a new name and a popular content creator is using it.
It's like getting in an argument with somebody online, and then when you start losing that argument, or if they make a really good point and you can't say something bad, then you just go rage baited. And then it's like, no, you didn't actually believe that when we started. You didn't believe that. You're just trying to win. Yeah, it's just a prank, bro. That's the new version of it's just a prank. When you have a culture of rage baiting, quote unquote sarcasm, quote unquote like all this other shit, like how do you expect to solve those problems? How the f do you expect to have like a good discussion and get everyone's point of view, right? I mean, you can have a competitive game and not have the culture be what it is. The entire culture of this game right now has become, it's become this weird like rage baity, but also like clout farmy, drama farmy group, you know?
Necros knows his fame and power over people, but he uses it to be toxic to over a third of a community, saying he hates them, saying they are brain dead, saying they can't think for themselves, saying they have horrible takes and opinions, and on and on and on. His community repeats all the same things he is saying, making the Marvel Rivals community fill with hate and toxicity. And if I'm being honest, if you go into his chat, it's like an echo chamber of those toxic takes. He might not be a big reason for the support strike. The biggest reason was the dive meta and unfair point system and ranked for supports, but he was the last push needed for it to gain the traction that it did. He's setting a terrible example for his audience, and he's making the game overall less fun and more toxic, all for the sake of rage baiting and ego farming. Maxi 2 puts a part of that very well here.
Except the difference is I wasn't touting some bullshit trying to prove my point to kind of like demean an entire player base because of it. It's pretty crazy randomly seeing all these people be okay with smurfing just because Necros is quote unquote owning support players. I'm not surprised in the slightest that there's a support strike or that right now nobody even wants to play supports in general. With the rank changes being performance based now, the support players are even having their impact ignored. On top of that, the heroes that make the support role harder to play are getting buffs, while the heroes that have the best chance at countering those strong dive heroes are getting nerfed. Loki had his runes nerfed and Warlock had his soul bond nerfed. The support role is getting harder, their impact and experience is being invalidated and dismissed, and the role is being demeaned by one of the largest creators in the game.
Now before anyone says anything about this, no, I'm not a better player than Necros, but I am a better strategist. There's a difference between knowing how to play a character and actually playing them well. Knowing how to play a character can take you far, like it took him to GM3, but you need to play support a while to learn the nuances, which he learned some to make it to Celestial 3. Put simply, you may know what to do on a character, but you won't make it too far if you don't know why you're doing it. Also, last side note, Necros waited until the supports got a damage buff and waited until the point system in ranked was not heavily against support players.
I want him to play strategist for a week straight and see how far he gets.
All right,
So,
I'll
yeah.
do it. I'll do it, but I can't do it now.
So it would have taken him even longer to reach the goal of Celestial 3 if he was actually playing support in the time which supports were striking in. To wrap this video up, don't be toxic, don't smurf, don't ego trip, don't believe everything a big content creator tells you, and form your own opinions. See ya.